Yes. Hi, hello chat. How are you? How are all of you doing today? Welcome to a very special stream. I'm joined by and
Hi, what the? We've been sectioned off into little section. We're in
I put you in the sections. You're in
Oh my
boxes.
god.
Help!
We've been sectioned.
Help!
We have we have Pastra, and we have Dags all joining me today.
I'm in a box.
I love that chat's already kind of gotten onto the fact that this is just the lament of people that have had to play Garten of Ban multiple times.
Yeah.
Because when I was initially researching my video, I was trying to be as neutral as possible when I was like researching and doing stuff. But as I kept going down the rabbit hole that is the Euphoria Brothers, I'm just like, it's just rough the deeper you go and the further it goes. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But more importantly, I do want to talk because I am the only person with a face cam here and everyone else is some form of avatar. We're going to talk a little bit about content creation and just kind of what's it like here in 2023, and maybe this old son of a bitch can learn something. Who knows?
Let's see.
Let's find out. So to kick off, let's just rip off the Band-Aid of Ban 3, because I think there's different thoughts of some people thinking, hey, it's a little better, and then there's some people like myself that goes, it just hurts more the deeper it goes.
I have 18 hours in that game.
What?
Yeah.
I am the exact opposite. Not only have I not played it, but I have avoided watching any gameplay of it because I hate the series so much.
It's
I
dedicated.
guess I'd be in the middle then.
That's the play.
Yeah.
That's the play.
We got the perfect like spectrum here.
We actually do.
Yeah.
Dags made a video on it, has the 18 hours on it. Pastor has avoided it at all costs, and I streamed it, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, I streamed it, and I think I'm pretty sure I had a nice solid 10-minute rant afterwards about just the light puzzle bugs the shit out of me because it was such a cool concept and just completely wasted with a zigzag.
Yeah. I like it. I like the things that they're trying. I like that they are actually trying to do things that are more interesting and like innovate on some sort of formula, since there really hasn't been much of a gameplay identity to Garten of Ban at all so far. So seeing them like try to experiment with more puzzles is nice, but they also, I feel, are still just limiting themselves way too much. And I think that's the biggest issue.
It's the amount of time you spend on the game, right? If they would just take an extra 6 months to develop some of these things, it could be really cool. But they don't.
Yeah. They're pumping these out faster than Scott Cawthon did the first 4 or 5 Nights at Freddy's games.
Even then, I was like, this is too fast. This is way too fast.
It's kind of just unfortunate. Like, it works. I mean, that's the sad part. Like, they can do a game every 2 months. It'll probably do, just as good as it would if they spent 6 months on it. So, from a money perspective, which, let's be real, that's probably what most of this is about. I mean, I don't think the Euphoric Brothers truly care and put their 100% into Ban. It feels, it's a little cash grabby in nature. So with that in mind, I mean, what, you're going to spend 6 months on it, make the same amount of money, or spend 2 months on it and make probably more money?
Right.
Like,
that's totally fair. And it's something that initially I went in thinking like, I wanted to not believe it was a cash grab going into it, but like, it's the more I go into, and it's really this kind of like desperation feeling of, we want to make money playing video games, so we're just going to do whatever it takes to make money off of what we pump out, whether it's good quality or not. Mm-hmm. And it just continually feels like they would much rather pump out something in 2 months, collect paycheck from Steam and then just immediately go in there and then suddenly, hey, they have a successful gaming career or like game dev career now. And it's just like, how long is that going to last?
Yeah,
Once they're
Mhm.
done with Ban, I don't really see what else they can do.
Yeah.
But that's to say if they will ever be done with Ban, because I assure that they are not going to stop at the 5th chapter.
No, I'm under the impression that we will continue to get Ban games so long as they continue to get like a bunch of attention from, people playing them. Because like I remember like that was like part of the reason why I avoided the games like The Plague in the first place, was the fact that like anytime like a new Ban game comes out, it gets a little bit more attention than the previous one. So it's gonna keep. I feel like it's just gonna keep spiraling until eventually
it has to peak at some point.
it's going
It
to peak at
does.
some point,
Yeah.
and that's probably when they're gonna stop making games, is when it stops getting a crap ton of attention from like
every video that I've made about Ban has only waned in views. So like it's nowhere near as I literally think its hype was like the first few weeks of chapter 1.
I'm going to explain why I think that's the case.
Mhm.
I think what's happened is critical analysis of Ban as a series was at its peak during the first and second games, and it's just declined since. While videos just making like content about the game, like animations or like let's plays from bigger YouTubers or whatever, just like more positive content on the game, has increased in views and popularity. And you can even see that in the Euphoric Brothers' own YouTube channel. If they upload any video relating to Ban on their channel, it gets like an absurd amount of views. There is a very strong, unironic, or maybe just ironic, probably mixed fan base for this game at this point. And the criticism of this series is nowhere near as lucrative as it was at the beginning. It's now probably more lucrative for people to praise it and be on their good side. And, that's just kind of where we are with this. That's the sad state.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
But-
you're not wrong, because right now what really kept pushing Ban forward was the fact that it was getting coverage, and like it's the same sort of thing that happened when Markiplier played FNAF. FNAF blew up, and the moment that Ban showed up, and people started playing it, and especially if I'm right, like the one that really picked up was Fusions. I'm trying to remember. Your
Fusion-
video.
Fusion was Patient Zero.
Patient
Yeah,
Zero.
so Fusion was the first person to upload, like a first big person to upload a Ban video, and immediately it just got views.
Mhm.
Like that was the first domino.
Yeah, and then from there it just kind of cascaded, and now Markiplier's played the third game, so.
And Markiplier's kind of like the third game too.
Yeah,
It's yeah.
he's played a lot, and a lot of things that are just not good. And as much as I want to say, I mean, Garten of Ban is not a good game, but it's not. It's kind of worse in the fact that it's just incredibly mediocre.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's when you're thinking about like a really good movie, you're like, oh, that's so good, but then you have stuff like The Room, and you're like, this is so bad, but I love it. And then in the middle is that kind of mediocre valley. I'm trying to remember what person I was watching that said that, but that's kind of where Ban is. It's just like, yeah, all right.
Yeah,
I guess. I mean, I think it had The Room quality to it at first, because no one knew what it was, and like everyone was just like so tired of this mascot horror stuff. Because I thought it couldn't get worse than Rainbow Friends, but at least that was like concealed away in the Roblox community. So like it really didn't have that much of an effect on like the other things surrounding it. But then Ban came out, and since that's its standalone game, and that got so much popularity despite that, it just kind of like, I don't know how further down the barrel we could possibly get.
Ban filled a very specific niche, and I have not seen anyone really bring up this point, but I forget who told me or brought this up, but it's 100% correct. So with Rainbow Friends, when it came out, it exploded. It was a very, very popular Roblox game, especially for like content farms, kids channels, or whatever, like most popular Roblox games are. But over time, the developers of Rainbow Friends they completely dropped the ball on that project, where they have not given it a substantial update since it came out, which is over a year ago now. So even though that game existed and filled a hole in that market of like, kids FNAF or esque mascot horror content or whatever, they let it sit for so long, just kind of like riding off its success and its loot boxes and its microtransactions or whatever, that they accidentally created a hole in their own market that they already filled. That's what Ban filled. It just became Rainbow Friends again, but it's actually getting updates and new stuff. So why would you pay attention to Rainbow Friends when Ban is very similar character design and it's actually getting content continuously? It filled that same niche.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest.
There's hardly a difference, especially to like the kids that are consuming that content.
Yeah, it is colorful, bad mascot runs around,
which I have firsthand experience with, by the way, because I have a 5-year-old cousin that's in my house, and he loves mascot horror stuff, and he watches like Lanky Box and stuff like that. So he draw like the Rainbow Friends characters and stuff like that. Now I haven't heard him talk about Rainbow Friends in ages now, but he watches Garten of Ban stuff, which is a really funny thing to see, especially since he knows about my channel. But it is very interesting because like it's just proving again and again that it doesn't matter how many of these things come out. Once like eventually it'll just be replaced by the next thing, and they'll just keep on following the same formula around each other. It's basically just like Ouroboros.
That hole is always going to be there as long as there's nothing filling it, which it was Rainbow Friends, and now it's Ban. Like if once Ban stops getting games or whatever, something else will probably take its spot. Like it's kind of just, there, as long as there's a market for it, which is, kids, there's going to be something to fill it. So
yeah, I mean, it's ultimately one of the big things that I've like when analyzing and like talking about this with other creators. It's just like it's so hard to compete with just the fact that like kids have infinite attention, or like they have a lot of time and attention to give, and the older you get, the less attention you can give things. So as your taste of quality goes up, you have less time to put more eyeballs on something that's good. I know this is rambly, I promise. I hope this is coming across right. But it's just the idea is like kids will always have more time, and so they will always be able to push things that are of questionable quality, like Ban, because it gets them all excited about it.
Yeah, I get that.
A lot of my focus on like videos and content I've made this year, and I want to continue to definitely hone in on this as I go on, is I've focused a lot on content made for kids, specifically in our mascot horror space. And I just find those rabbit holes super interesting, like Elsa Gate type stuff, just like that's because there's so much shit like content farms and it's ridiculous, and there's just so much to look at, and you really like when you look into that stuff. There is genuinely some of the fucking grossest, nastiest content ever, and it's just all made for kids. It's just like, ugh.
It is a huge problem, and it's something that I wanted to talk about a bit more. But like, there's also kind of funny stuff in there too. Like, I really want to make a video about the fake chapter Unreal Engine rabbit hole, because that is absolutely insane. If you were to like search up Garten of Ban 4 right now, it's instead of hoaxes like you'd get during the FNAF days, where like, oh, it's a leaked image of FNAF 3 and stuff like that. Instead, you are now getting these fully fledged Unreal Engine 5 mock-ups of a Garten of Ban 4 full gameplay.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
It is really, really bizarre, but it's also really funny.
Ban's like fan content. It's hard to even call it that. It's more just like trying to feed that content farm machine content that is, fake generated fan made stuff or whatever is insane. There are so many bootleg Ban plushes, and majority of them are fake fan made characters. Like that rabbit hole goes insanely deep. Like
I still don't know who Chef Pigster is.
yeah.
What?
There is
you
a fan
don't know
character
about
called Chef Pigster who has multiple bootleg plushies, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Ban fake fan content bootleg shit is insane.
There's so much.
That's insane. Because I was talking to the Game Salmon about this too. Is like he was telling me that he knew kids that like knew this exact thing, like these fan-made characters that somehow like not associate with the game at all, but have their own like fandom to like such a strong degree. It has nothing to do with the actual IP at all.
It is very bizarre because I remember growing up, like I kind of had the same thing, but with like the FNAF fan characters. But the difference there was that they were actually attached to something. Like there was a game attached to the character or something, stuff like that, because like they're from fan games. But with it's just like I don't know the origin of them. I don't know where they came from.
I don't know if you can put this up on screen or whatever, but I'm gonna send something in the group chat here.
Yeah.
This is just like an average AliExpress listing for Ban plushies. 90% of these characters are not real. But they all have some kind of origin, and they all have bootleg plushies, and they all sell well enough to make more because they never stop.
Yeah, hold on. It's going to go in front of our faces, but that's
fine.
It's fine.
This is more important.
Yeah, this is absolutely insane. Okay.
I genuinely find it so like fascinating how I think the reason why Ban gets so many of these like bootleg character designs is the fact that like the Ban character designs already are so like poorly made and overly simple that like honestly you can make a bootleg of any random design and it could pass as an official Ban design because the actual official designs themselves kind of almost look like bootlegs of their own series.
That is true. It's also really funny too, like because this isn't the first game that has gotten treatment like this too. Like as we were talking about, Rainbow Friends has gotten this. I'm pretty sure Doors has even gotten this.
Yes, there's a lot of Doors fan characters, but the thing with Doors, at least, is Doors fan characters usually originate from either just like concepts from actual fans, or there are Doors fan games on Roblox that use like, fan characters and whatever.
I don't know where these guys come from.
Okay, so I have the bootlegs up on screen, and it's absolutely that is so many. And like
there's like specific lore for some of these. So, you see like those noodle characters that have the elephant noses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the origin for those is early in Ban history. Someone, I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it was like a tweet or something. Someone made like a joke post where they took a character from Monsters University who has that same body shape and traced over it to look like a Ban character and put it on like a fake tweet or whatever, which then somehow spiraled into a weird telephone thing where now it's just a new bootleg character that shares the same body shape and somehow got an elephant nose along the way and now is a girl version. So, like, the origin for some of these is bizarre. Like, that's the only one I'm super concrete on. But
you see the bottom right Captain Fiddles one with the bulging eyes?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That design is from one of those fake chapter videos.
You're right. I think that is based on a fan model.
Yeah, it is. It certainly is, because I remember seeing that pop up before Garten of Ban 2 came out. But while those fake chapter videos were like getting so much attention, I know for a fact that one is based off of a fan model, which is really, really funny.
And if we want to tie this back into Roblox, because Rainbow Friends is kind of the origin of this, a lot of these characters are made for Roblox games about Garten of Ban. Just find the morphs or find the PNG games or whatever, and they just need to keep making new characters for them. So a lot of these are either originating from Roblox Ban games, or they're made somewhere else, and then they're just all shoveled into a million different Roblox Ban games just to keep the content cycle going, the wheels turning, the cogs moving. It's a little much.
It is a very well-oiled machine.
It's so insane. And this is one of the reasons why I definitely wanted to talk to you three is like I have avoided Roblox like the plague just for my own specific sanity as I've been like developing my channel, and it's been like I've gone through so many phases, and at this point in time Roblox has been the one that's like if I go through there, I'm crossing some like a threshold that I can never come back from.
Oh yeah.
In my opinion, I'm starting to see that less and less because I've only heard great things about Doors, like specifically.
I
Yeah.
fucking love Doors. It's one of my favorite games ever. Unironically,
There's
I have every achievement in that game. I've played that game for hours and hours and hours. I love Doors. It's so
There's
good.
a big trend of Roblox developers really pushing the limits of the engine and making things that do not feel like they should be in Roblox. And I feel like those are going to be the games that you're going to be seeing on the front page a lot more as time goes on.
Yeah.
Because there's a shooter, an FPS game that came out very recently that rivals even the visuals of the newest Modern Warfare game, which is an absolutely insane feat.
I'm sorry.
I'm not kidding.
What is it
Like,
called? Do you know off the top of your head?
I think it's Frontlines. Let me. It's like in my. I play it occasionally. Let me go on to Roblox real quick.
No
I
way. I'm already looking at screenshots of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Roblox is a very underrated engine because of its reputation of very low quality, cheap games made by kids. But
Yeah.
you can absolutely do some amazing things with that program, and it's like when you really think about it, it's scummy that Roblox has a lot of scummy practices. They take a lot
Yes.
of money from the creators, but also when you make a game on Roblox, you're getting a free multiplayer server that is good forever. Like that is a game that will be on there. You can play multiplayer forever, and that is a very underrated aspect of that engine, in my opinion. And that's why games like Doors, like you don't have to worry about servers going down unless Roblox goes down. But I mean, it's like a multi-billion-dollar company.
Roblox
so.
is way too
Yeah.
big to fail at this point, at least for like a good century.
Yeah, and I mean it's already God, there was a promotion between something that was really mainstream with Roblox not too long ago.
There's a lot of those.
Yeah.
Like Roblox just has a whole bunch of events because it's there are very few games that are structured like it, but like the big three games that are like pushing the boundaries of what you can really do with games is like Roblox, Fortnite, and Minecraft.
Mhm.
Because they're like fine. I mean, Minecraft to a lesser extent now, because like they're just kind of like doing their own thing. But like Roblox and Fortnite particularly, like getting all of these brand deals, partnering with a whole bunch of these companies, and then just like further innovating on their engine and stuff like that, and then making these very niche parts of their game super accessible. Like I don't know if you've seen like the Creative 2.0 update for Fortnite, but they're basically turning that game into a sandbox game. It's practically becoming the next Garry's mod.
Yeah, because they have like they released Unreal and like a light Unreal engine that just is focused around Fortnite specific engine that you can build whatever and put it up.
You could play Garten of Banban in Fortnite.
Oh, good.
Oh yay! Just what I needed.
To cycle everything back around, you could play Garten of Banban in Fortnite.
Man, it's so fascinating to see Roblox where it is right now because like I was saying, is like it's something that I've avoided so much because of the reputation it's had since I've been on my YouTube channel, and it's only been over the last couple years that it's really kind of changed in the zeitgeist. And like this is a great example, like Frontlines and Doors, like these games that use the engine to do something just incredibly solid. It's just something. It's great when people are able to use the tools they're given to do something like this intense.
And I think we're gonna keep on seeing them because although these are games that are getting a lot of attention outside of Roblox circles, if you're to look at the biggest Roblox games still, it's just a whole bunch of like fodder, the grind games that just like have you upgrading like very trivial stats to stuff because like it just keeps the engagement of their players there.
Look, I'm a victim to a good game with upgrades. I like to feel like I like the little serotonin boost I get. But yeah,
I know,
I
and that's
understand.
why they're so popular because
Yeah.
this is like the first thing these kids are playing that are like that.
Mhm.
Like obviously none of these kids are like playing RuneScape or anything. So they go to Roblox to play like their One Piece themed Roblox game where they like upgrade stats and stuff like that are just completely trivial. And I'll be real, I fell victim to some of these at a point too. Like it was for ironic reasons, but like I legitimately like have spent overnight time in some of these games like years ago and just like put on an auto clicker to like overnight so I could like get an absurd stat rate by the end of by morning because I thought it was funny. So like these things exist. And I don't think they're going to be going away anytime soon.
No.
But there are still people that are giving a lot of serious attention to these projects that you actually do see is a lot of effort being put into them. And I think the more we get that, the more this will definitely become a much more respected engine.
Yeah, I mean, especially just from what's been coming out recently, like it's starting to turn. And I think, how long has Roblox been around? Now that I think about it,
I'm pretty sure it's been around before I was even born.
Oh yeah, it's been like what, like 13 years around that?
No. More like no. It started in 2004, I think.
I had
2004.
the initial release date that Google's showing me is, and this is excluding any alphas or whatever, but 2006.
Okay. So I was literally born like right around the time that Roblox came out. So this has been kicking around for a long time.
Oh. So I was in college.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh.
I'm a legal adult next year, so
Oh.
that puts some stuff in the retrospective.
Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
my God.
I am very much the boomer here because I look at September 1st, 2006. I'm like, oh, that was right around the time that YouTube first started popping up too. I had a few videos on there at that time. Wow.
At least you relate to Rytos in the chat. He was in middle school when that came out.
Yeah.
You guys are in some. You guys are in similar ages.
Yeah. No. At this point in time, it's generally during meetings where at Theorist is just Matt and I lamenting about how old we are now. It's all about embracing the old dad now, apparently, is where I need to be going. But we'll see. I want to go to the chat for just a little bit because I got to remember that chat is here and they have some thoughts.
Hi.
Hi chat. How you
Hello,
doing?
How you guys doing? How's chat doing? Clone Gamer says Dan and Matt sitting on a porch telling those damn kids to get off their lawn.
If it makes you feel any better, you two don't look a day over 26.
Stop it.
I see Spidey in chat. Hello, Spidey. It's been a while since I've seen you in a chat.
Hello, Spidey. Can't wait to hit you with my car again.
Can't say that without context.
In Fortnite.
In Fortnite.
I'm like sitting here going, I mean, it's not the worst thing that's been said out of context on stream here, but like, I mean,
I think there's worse things said like every 15 minutes in the Garten of Band stream I tuned into.
Oh yeah, there we go. Let's squeaks to Corgi. Absolutely, I'm not saying that on stream. Let's see. I got called old for remembering extra menus on DVDs. That's from David Barron.
Hi, David. I stole your gradient.
Yeah, sorry. I was like, I need a background for it. Bam. Use the profile picture. Sin, thank you for the $5. Remember, the real Ban Ban is the friends we made along the way. Wow.
I didn't make any friends through Ban.
Yeah,
It
you're
only
fine.
brought me misery.
Six, thank you for the $2. Hello, how are you? I remember the old DVD startups. Yeah. The DVD bouncing symbol, the screensaver, is fondly remembered by myself at least, and when it would hit the corner. Let's see. Fart face. Thank you for the $5. I remember playing Roblox, and there was a very well done FPS called Phantom Forces that was very stark. Details on their weapons was very impressive.
It was that one was a lot older than Frontlines too, but it was still very impressive because although it still looked a lot like Roblox, it had a lot of very fluid. It just had very fluid movement and animations. So even though you were playing a Roblox game, I feel like Phantom Forces was still a pretty good alternative FPS game to play occasionally.
Static Soul says that Postre, he's here and ready to bully.
Oh boy.
The Dags fan page 69. Nice. Thank you for the 989 and hello.
How is this bit carrying over from Twitter? What the fuck is going on?
No.
There's a lot of bits that are carrying over from a lot of different places on this one stream. It's really weird.
It's what happens when you start mixing various different chats, and it's the way that they get their reminder that, hey, we're here and we're still memeing. What is the Dags fans?
Okay.
Explain.
It's a bit that's been going on for like months now. Like 2 of them popped up and they joined my Discord server. I thought it was kind of funny, but then another one showed up yesterday, and I don't know who's running it. I've been sent like 4 pictures from my friends with a screenshot saying that they're the owner. But and they keep on sending me the same screenshot of like the profile with the edit profile button. But I've gotten it from like 5 people, so I don't know who's the one actually running the account.
Millie with $2. Hello, and Bomberman with $5. Hello, how's everyone's day going? Also, Postra, where is it?
Oh no.
What are they asking about?
Do I need to explain? Do I need to explain this bit? Oh my god. Bomberman is a frequent in every stream I'm in, not just on my own streams, but in every stream I'm a part of, and they always super chat asking me to draw Jumbo Josh X Opila Bird fan art because every time I talk about Garten of Ban, am vocal about my vitriolic hatred of it. And every single time they appear, they donate money just to ask.
Right.
Every single time.
I mean, that's just free money.
Listen,
So.
if Pastor is gonna draw any Ban characters, it should be Zolfius or Nab.
I agree.
I have made a couple rules for myself. One of those rules is I'm never drawing a Ban character, and the other rules I'm never making a video on Ban no matter what. You cannot make me talk about Ban on my own channel.
Okay, well, good. We're here. So if you could go ahead and whip that up real quick, we'll put it on screen.
Look, I agreed to talk about Ban here today. I didn't sign up for anything else.
All right. So one thing that I wanted to, and this was a conversation that I had with Dag shortly after I posted my video on Garten of Ban, and one thing that I didn't really talk about because I think I was essentially done editing by the time the charity stream was done, but I wanted to at least have a moment so we can talk about, like, hey, there was just a lot of, like, between the Euphoric brothers and the people that critiqued them, there was a lot of butting of heads, but at least something good came out of it with the charity stream. So I wanted to take a brief moment to talk about that. And more specifically, I want to talk just a little bit about, like, did you decide to, like, doing the charity stream, was it what was kind of the motivation behind it, I guess, is one of the things, other than just like doing some good.
It was like the most spiteful charity stream you could ever imagine. Like that was the origin of the idea. So all this shit was happening on Twitter, and I was like, wow, this sucks. I'm gonna just do something a little good with it. So we did the charity stream, and it was fucking awesome. And we raised like $12,000 for the Trevor project.
That's insane.
It was freaking sweet. And yeah, so I took a very shitty situation where the Euphoric Brothers were being kind of babies on Twitter, and I spun into something a little more positive, but still a little mean spirited in the weirdest way possible.
Yeah, no, it
started.
Go ahead.
It started because when the Euphoric Brothers were like having their little bout on Twitter and like saying that they were going to leave. One of our other friends and peers, the baddest, went on live stream to talk about it, and I remember joining when that was going on, and we were just kind of talking about it. But eventually, decided to join us too, and we were just like kind of bantering a little bit, and then we kind of like threw the idea of doing a charity event. And it just kind of spiraled from there. The idea of the $10,000 goal being that our friend the baddest will get a Opila bird tattoo was really funny, and we ended up hitting that. And I think they're getting that next month.
Oh my god!
And I remember too during that specific stream. I remember I tuned in, just because I like tuning into friend streams every now and then. And I remember I joined in specifically when you guys were joking about like, oh man, we should make it a donation goal to get Pastra to play Garten of Ban. And I remember like I had tuned in right around that. I'm like, if you guys actually do that stream, I think that's the only way you could ever get me to play that game willingly.
And it worked.
And I remember that was also one of the inciting things to like start the event was like, oh my god, he agreed to it. We got to do it now.
Yeah. It is very weird to say like, oh yeah, this charity stream is definitely out of spite, just given the whole situation. But like at the same time, $12,000 is not.
I think
it's 12,000, right? I just want to make sure I'm getting the number.
12,000, right. Yeah, $12,000.
That's incredible.
I think the Euphoric Brothers thought we were going to scam people because
I think people in their Discord did. I don't think they did. I don't think they gave a shit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they. I know they're in that Discord server, and I
don't
think
know how active they are on that Discord server.
I think they might be active in the mod chats. We don't know, but that's kind of just like my conspiracy brain going on. I know that a lot of people that were like running the Garten of Ban Discord server though were like heavily against the charity stream going on.
Yeah, I mean, there's no scam. It's through Tiltify. I mean, we do not see a penny of the money. I mean, it's already long gone now. But
yeah, exactly. Was there something else? I feel like I cut you off.
No, I don't think there was. All right, continue. Yeah,
I mean, it's a great thing to do, especially in such like a crappy situation. And this is something that through my whole journey of researching and dealing or like going through the Euphoric Brothers is like when like I said, like initially when I started, I was like, I don't think it's a cash grab. I think a lot of this stuff is blown out of proportion. And then like, it's still like to this day, the tweet they did about the first time, it was the first time meme with them saying whenever a game releases something with a main menu, I'm like, what the hell does that mean?
Ever. Literally the worst tweet ever. Rainbow Friends doesn't have a main menu.
Yeah, and at that point in
like,
time,
what were they talking about?
That was the moment where it clicked. It was like, okay, yeah, they are very poor at receiving criticism. Like it's so bizarre and maybe it's just because of how how my brain processes stuff, but like the idea of just not taking criticism or like whining about criticism when you put something on the internet is just mind-blowing to me. Like if someone would like, if you put something out there, the internet is expected to love everything that's put out there.
Yeah, I feel like at the beginning they might have tried to roll with the punches a little bit because they followed all of us on Twitter at a time. But then they eventually blocked all of us. They blocked first because he made a meme when the Garten of Ban mobile port was announced, where he photoshopped the like kindergarten screen cap from Garten of Ban onto a Leapster. And then like they got really offended by that and ended up blocking
it was more of like a death by a thousand thorns kind of deal, because I was just responding to like all of their tweets, just ratioing them every single time, and I think that was just like the tweet. All right, we've had enough. Just fucking leave me alone.
Right.
What I find funny about that too is like I feel like the Euphoric brothers, just in general, would have such a better reputation even if the games aren't the best, if they just like got along with the community better and kind of like
Absolutely.
almost like played along with a lot of the jokes that were made. Like I absolutely understand, like, you know, not taking it the best when you release something and it is immediately responded to with like overwhelming negativity. But I feel like first of all, if something's being responded to with that overwhelming negativity, you should really think to yourself why that is, because I feel like, you know, if every video about your game is a bad thing, like a criticism, then I feel like that's really telling of the product you've made. So like either take to that, or if, you know, a bunch of people are joking about it, at least, you know, like play along, have some fun with those people. At least you'll be respected within the community and people will want to see you improve.
Yeah.
Like if you take it very poorly, not only will you have a bad product, but people won't actively want to see it get better.
Yeah. And there's definitely something to be said, especially nowadays, is as a developer, having a healthy relationship with creators is, especially as an indie dev, is so important. Like you like, yeah, you might not throw out something as great and amazing as, say, well, for me, Tears of the Kingdom, because that has been my latest obsession. But the idea of being, you know, putting it out there, receiving criticism, but then reaching out to the creators and like asking them to give some like good feedback, or like, hey, this is their next game or whatever. Could you try and give some feedback? That personally, that's a route I would go if I was a developer, is working that close with creators. But I also know that after receiving that many videos of saying, hey, this is bad, maybe reluctant to do so very much.
Yeah, that
like
sorry. If someone is like if there's like a whole bunch of people criticizing you for like very specific things about what you're creating, of course there's going to be a lot of negativity there that you shouldn't listen to. But there's also a lot of things. Like, I don't think the Euphoric brothers understand hyperbole, and I think has been like a huge detriment to them, because like I feel like they're playing the landscape right now. They should understand that a lot of people are also going to be playing the same game that they're playing, just in a different way. So there are always going to be legitimate criticisms that might be hidden in something hyperbolic, like a hyperbolic title, hyperbolic thumbnail, anything like that. And I feel like they're, instead of focusing on the contents of that stuff, they're more interested on just complaining about like the thing that's meant to grab other people's attention. But they're practically doing the same thing with everything that they're creating, because it's meant to game a system. At least right now it is.
Yeah. And also, they very much created their own little, they wanted their own little echo chamber of people saying how great their game is and creating characters and sharing it on their Twitter. That's what they wanted, and it's not what they got immediately. And that's why they've left, though I'm not 100% sure if they don't like go in time to time to see what Twitter's doing. I don't know. I'll find out after this stream if I've been blocked. I check every time that I do a Garten one. I was like, am I next? Nope, still good.
I think they just don't pay attention to what a lot of people are saying, because like me and Aya specifically got in really early, so I think they were paying attention to literally everything that was being said about their game at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So that included that probably included a whole bunch of the kids channels, content farms that were picking it up, a lot of the Let's Players that are picking up like Fusion, but that also included people that were making essays about it.
Yeah.
And really the only people that were making essays about it at that time are me, yeah, and there was someone else who made like a really good video early on. I'll need to find it. But those are really the only people that were making videos about it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they were obviously paying attention to that too, because they followed all of us on Twitter and they interacted with us in some ways, like to the point where I thought that they might actually be a little bit more, they might be a bit self-aware on what they're doing if they're interacting with us, and I would have respected them a lot more if they were.
There was a lot of times where it felt like they were kind of self-aware, and it was something that came up a lot with some of the videos that I referenced and stuff. A lot of people were like, this kind of feels like parody of mascot horror in a way. And honestly, if they would have leaned hard into that, it could have been something completely different and like stayed in the spotlight. I think when the fourth one comes out, there will be a big dip.
I think so too. Like there's already been a big dip in chapter 3. Also, Rapwinded, I don't know, Rapwind, I think is how you pronounce it. That's the other person that was making Garten of Banban videos. They have like one of the more popular essays about it for chapter 1.
Mm-hmm.
And but there was a lot, but my point is still is that there was a lot of interest in people making videos about just talking about it because no one knew what it was. But now there's just going to be a whole bunch of people that are not going to be as interested now because like it was very easy to see where this was going, what the trajectory would be, especially after chapter 2, because I feel that there is still enough ambiguity during the release of Garten of Banban 2 to where people still did not know the direction that this was going in. But once Garten of Banban 3 came out, I think people kind of stopped caring as much because it's like we're very aware of how these people act now. We're very aware of what they plan on doing in their later installments. And that's why I believe that a lot of people don't have as much interest anymore.
Like I said earlier, I think this point has weight, but only when it comes to people making critical essays on Banban. Mm-hmm. I don't think you realize how large this spiral has gotten. The Banban 3 trailer has almost 10 million views.
Yeah. No.
The Banban 4 teaser trailer has 4.1 million views in 2 weeks.
I agree. I completely
it's
agree.
not ending. It's still extremely popular.
I think it's over for us, but for everyone else, it's going to continue to thrive.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
I think its ironic fan base has just gotten completely burnt out at this point, but the unironic fan base is going to continue consuming.
The
content.
children are still very interested in this. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll go ahead and correct myself that us that are critical on it and we're covering it initially, we're done. But yeah, I'm looking right now to see 4.1 million for the Garten of Banban 4 trailer. Already, that
just
was
the teaser trailer, not even the actual trailer.
It's not even the actual trailer.
And like the OST uploads, which are like fucking stock songs or something, all have almost like 1 million views or 1 million views. Like
the chase music is just the most atrocious loop I think I've ever heard.
That 23-second chase music from the first 2 games is on their YouTube channel with 800,000 views. It's a 20-second video.
That's insane.
I think they used the same chase music in Egghead Gumpty, if I'm not mistaken.
They might have.
I know the jump scare sting was the same.
Yeah.
Right.
Did any of you play Egghead Gumpty?
I'm making a video right now that should be coming out soon, talking about the rejects of the mascot horror genre.
Mm-hmm.
Basically games that I feel were made with the intent of capitalizing on the success of the genre after like Poppy Playtime and Rainbow Friends and stuff like that, but they didn't catch on for one reason or another. So I'm covering Hide Time in there, which is like this very bad Poppy Playtime knockoff that's on Steam. And then I'm also covering Leany Boog and Egghead Gumpty. And Egghead Gumpty is very interesting because I don't know if it's better or worse than what their output with the Garten stuff, because it blatantly false advertises on its Steam page. It's borderline unplayable at points because like it was way too ambitious for what their skill set was for.
Mm-hmm.
Because Gumpty's main way he attacks you is he hides in the walls. And you need to find him hiding in the walls and shine a light on him to make him go away. But the layout of the map is procedurally generated every single time. So sometimes he'll just spawn in walls that don't exist. And he'll just kill you, and you don't know where he went.
That
so
explains a lot, because I remember playing it and going, I cannot find this what I'm supposed to be looking. And
it turned a game that would have been less than 30 minutes to me almost having 3 hours in it trying to beat it.
Yeah, no, I gave up after like the 4th try. I was like, okay, this is not going anywhere.
I have to review it, so I had to beat it.
Fair. Totally fair. Well, now that we've hit the hour mark, I was thinking perhaps maybe instead of continuing to talk about Banban, let's move over to just mascot horror in general, because I think there's a lot of I've seen a lot of people, like a lot of videos saying mascot horror is dying or is dead, and I'm myself have been digging into that to see like just how rough is things. Because mascot horror is a genre that when you start peeling away like the surface and really looking at how many games are mascot horror and realizing that technically every FNAF fan game is mascot horror in some way, and there's thousands of those. Yeah. So I would like to just first start with just kind of getting everyone's opinion on where the genre is right now, and we'll just start going down the line of what's on screen. So I'll have you if you're good to start.
Yeah, sure. So God, I don't think mascot horror is dying. I never had that opinion. Banban in the first 2 Poppy chapters put this smear of shit on mascot horror that made everyone fucking pull their hair out and say the entire genre is dead. When Dark Revival came out, it's fire from what I've heard. We're getting new FNAF stuff. Ruin looks fire. Also, Security Breach put some shit on that too, but that's debatable, I guess. But Ruin looks really good, and then we're getting Help Wanted 2, and then Poppy Chapter 3 might be fire, and then there's also just games that have kind of had demos and then just went dormant for a while. Like, the full version of Baldi isn't even out yet. Like, it's getting updates and stuff. Like, when that's done, that game looks really good. And what is the other one that I'm really excited for? Shoot, it's the one with the puppets. I don't even know what it's called, but
the one that looks like it's playing like a Resident.
My
Friendly Neighborhood.
That one looks.
I
really
love
good.
the demo. I love the demo of that game. I think that game is gonna be a really good. It's like that game is more of a parody of mascot horror than Banban ever could be, and it genuinely looks like a good game. Like I am.
Yeah, I love the level design.
Yeah.
I don't think mascot horror is dead. I just think that we need to wait for the good shit to come through again.
Yeah.
There is also another bendy game.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Leaked. Amanda the Adventurer came out, and that's fine too.
Oh yeah.
So. Yeah. I mean, okay. I'm a big fan of what Dread XP's doing as a publisher. They've put out some really good games as far as like indie horror's concerned. Pastra.
Yes. So I've always had a weird like relationship with mascot horror where I have a really, really strong love for it and a really strong dislike for it, because like I feel like the reason mascot horror right now has a really like sort of bad reputation, the reason why a lot of people think it's like sort of dead or dying, is the fact that I feel like there are good mascot horror games in the works, and there are great ones that have come out. But the ones that people have been especially paying attention to recently have been the really bad ones. And because those ones have become more widespread and popular than the really good stuff that's either coming out or has been made, it kind of gives this bad impression about what the genre currently has. Because, like, oh yeah, I brought it up already. Like, the Dark Revival was a really good game that took a lot of time to make. I mean, like, at the time that it had come out, it was like literally my favorite horror game for quite a while. And like that game has like consistently, like, Bendy itself has been getting a lot of like talk with like updates on stuff that's coming. There was like a whole game that was apparently like leaked that the Meatly like was talking about. Like, there was like Bendy in the Silent City. So there is genuinely good content in the works for it. And there's also still a lot of potential for the genre itself, but the games that are getting attention are the ones that kind of don't make it seem that way.
It also doesn't help. I don't want to interject too much with this, but I don't know if you're going to bring this up with the talk of Bendy. It's just like, I remember also seeing that one clip of Jacksepticeye saying that he wasn't going to play Bendy in the Dark Revival because he thought that ship had already passed. And I think that kind of does give a little bit of an insight into the landscape of the indie horror scene right now, to where everything's just like moving from one thing to one thing, and this and this and this, and you can't give too much attention on this one thing because this new thing's becoming relevant now, and this is blowing up.
And like that's exactly what I mean, is the fact that Bendy and the Dark Revival came out and was probably like the best mascot horror game we got in a while, but
probably the best one we've ever got, debatably. But
it was the best one we've gotten in a very long time, and yet it got attention upon like its first release in November, a bit through December, but then it started just to crash really bad in like coverage, because, you know, around January, that's when Ban came out. Everyone started covering that game. And so, you know, a game that was really good that came out, that a lot of people were covering at the time it came out, suddenly just sort of took a backseat to a game that's like really bad. So I feel like that kind of just gives a really bad impression about where the genre is going and what it currently looks like. And I feel like that's sort of like what caused the big sort of stigmatism of this genre is bad and it's dying and it's going downhill, when I really don't think that's true. Yeah, I really don't.
Yeah, it's a very good point. And something that I've, like, to what was saying, and Postra is like, it is like there's just been enough shit that has come out that blew up and became the forefront of the genre for a while, that it did just kind of eclipse like the good stuff. Because Amanda the Adventurer, as linear as it was, I had a really great time just playing that game, and that's mascot horror. And My Friendly Neighborhood, the demo it's Resident Evil with puppets, and it's great.
I have been like scratching for a mascot horror game that actually plays more like a survival horror game instead of just like.
I am so excited for My Friendly Neighborhood. That game is that's probably going to be one of my that's probably going to end up being my favorite non-FNAF mascot horror game ever when it comes out. Like, I loved the demo so much. It's such a good idea.
It's great. There's so much in that demo too. I feel like I didn't unlock everything. I went to like a few of the secret rooms, but like not much more beyond that.
It was very open, and I really liked that.
So at this point in time, chat, I want to also kind of kick this over to you, what your thoughts are on mascot horror. And I think most people, from what I've been seeing, are kind of in the same lane as we are. I don't think there's too many people saying that it's dying. But really quick, a few super chats. Dag's fan page 69 wants us to know that Dag's fan page 420 says hi.
Hi, Dag's fan page 420.
Millie, thank you for the $2, and we are reading super chats right
I saw
now.
I saw a very interesting thing just said in chat saying, "Isn't Resident Evil already mascot horror in itself?"
No.
And it's not, for the main reason that although Resident Evil has characters that you can argue are the mascots of those specific games, they aren't the like. If Resident Evil Village was called Lady Demetresque, then you might have an argument there. If Resident Evil 2 remake was called like goddamn Mr. X, then yes, you'd have an argument there. But the reason why those aren't mascot horror games, despite arguably having a mascot, is because they don't. Those mascots don't revolve around the game itself. There's a lot more nuance and structure that goes into those games more than just the thing that's chasing you. There's actual characters in those. There's like a plot that revolves much grander besides the character that's chasing you around.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's why I don't think it falls under mascot horror.
Initially, it was zombies.
Yeah.
So
zombies were the mascot.
Yeah. So unless every zombie movie and game is a mascot horror, then I think we need to redefine mascot horror, if that is the case.
Yeah. Like there's icons and stuff like that come from stuff like this. Mm-hmm. Like maybe you can argue that like Frankenstein might be a mascot horror thing, but that's also just like way too old to judge at that point, because like all these like these universal monsters and stuff like that come from old horror stuff, and like they're iconic, but they have so many iterations and stuff like that, and they're just kind of like more free to use than anything else. So I don't think you could really consider it mascot horror.
Yeah. A few more super chats, and then we'll go back into discussion on this sort of stuff. Kylie Del Pazzi, I'm gonna butcher every name here, so just be mentally prepared, everyone. Thank you for becoming a member. That guy randomly can't forget Hello Neighbor. That's
true. Hello Neighbor 2 specifically also definitely helped tarnish the name of mascot horror recently. Mm-hmm. I mean, the most memorable thing about that game I can think of is when they paid Mr. Beast to destroy a replica of the house, and then nobody cared about the game. So, I mean, good luck, guys.
Yeah, that game just faded into obscurity, despite the fact that they tried really hard with the promotion of it, which was always something I found very bizarre.
Mm-hmm. Either Alien Isolation.
There's a
what? Hold on.
There was an arc I had on Twitter where there was these 3 copies of Hello Neighbor 2 at my local Walmart that were sitting there for over a week, and nobody had bought a single copy. So I was documenting their life and death at Walmart, and eventually they just got rid of them. All 3 of them were gone one day, and I'm fairly certain they were not bought. I'm pretty sure they just got rid of them as dead stock. So yeah, no one cares about Hello Neighbor 2.
Yeah, no, I mean, Hello Neighbor had like the 1 or 2 alphas that were like really cool and interesting, and then the infamous tweets to MatPat started, and like,
oh my god!
Honestly, that was a point in time where that game just like started sliding down a hill. It never stopped.
And that's another thing about mascot horror I want to bring up. No, obviously, no shade to your boss, and
yeah, no, that's fine.
no shade to his content, but I think MatPat. Or not even MatPat himself, but the idea of MatPat has really kind of tarnished this genre as well, especially with like the theory videos and stuff like that. That's baiting people to try to make. And
yeah, I mean he'll say it too. Is like, and I think we did a whole like meta video one point where we just like, because theorists became so like. Became what it is today, and
he put me in that video.
Huh?
He put me in that one.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like these. It's kind of what we saw like Ban do. They played the algorithm, but there are some people that don't play it well, and they shove lore in because they want theory bait without understanding why they should, like, why it should exist in their world. It's like, we're going to create a mystery. It's like, okay, but what does it have to do with your world building?
Yeah.
Like, nothing. You're literally just putting in a mystery, and like referencing like some old folk tales from whatever random country you pick,
and I guess
it doesn't hit.
I feel like you could kind of argue that Scott Cawthon was kind of doing the same thing.
Mhm.
Like, we'll never know if he just bullshitted the lore in the beginning. He probably did, but I feel like a lot of the mystery that was gauged from everything that he did wasn't even intentional. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like he threw in Golden Freddy as an Easter egg, as just like a little fun thing that people might find. But since it so coincidentally got found in what became the most popular Let's Play of that entire game, that literally defined that franchise going forward, is what spiraled to everything that we have done here. I don't think if Markiplier found that Golden Freddy Easter egg on night 2 of his playthrough, we would not be where we are today.
Well, and he's openly admitted that. There's an interview that he did. Like, I've been researching a lot about Scott Cawthon and FNAF and how it was built for a giant video that I'm going to do later. And he openly admits that he just kind of put it in there because it was neat. And then suddenly, because you can't have Easter eggs in that franchise anymore, it spiraled out of control, and he somehow needed to like retroactively figure out what Golden Freddy was and why he was there.
See, I feel like FNAF though, when it comes to like mascot horror games throwing in lore for the sake of like theorizing about the story, I feel like what made FNAF so fascinating by comparison to something like Hello Neighbor, which is not nearly as interesting, is even if you do argue that a lot of the secret stuff in FNAF feels almost like very arbitrary, I feel like the thing that made FNAF really interesting to people was the fact that you weren't expecting lore and like story like that to exist when you initially went into it.
Mhm.
I feel like a lot of people who went into Five Nights at Freddy's, they had explanations for everything that had nothing to do with what the actual story was. You had reasons the animatronics were moving that had nothing to do with like missing children or William Afton or anything to do with like a Golden Freddy. But then as people started to play and find more Easter eggs, they realized there was a lot more going on behind the scenes than what originally was there, and it built up this level of intrigue. With something like Hello Neighbor, that kind of thing has already been established by FNAF, so it's kind of more to be expected. But I feel like with Hello Neighbor, there isn't that like pre-established like notion of what you are going to expect with that game that can then be like almost defied once the actual lore starts showing itself and you're like, hey, what's actually going on here? This is not what I expected going into this, you know?
Yeah.
It's also because FNAF was the first to do it too. Like, I can't really name anything else that has had that bombastic of like a plan with how much mystery was going on in it that was set out that much. Like, that really popularized the whole entire theory genre and stuff like that. Like, just creating theories and stuff like that for a game that doesn't really give you much, but gives you enough to like come up to these insane conclusions that could be vastly different from each other. And it was literally nothing like we've seen before. It's like how rock in the 80s and 90s was all the same until like Nirvana came with grunge and then just completely changed the game overnight. It's basically the exact same thing with FNAF. It completely changed the landscape of horror games going forward. And I think there's even a lot of more mainstream AAA publications that might even try to replicate that same success, and they might even be doing it right now. I can't really think of anything on the top of my head, but I'm sure there's stuff like that that's going on right now in much more mainstream spheres.
Yeah. I like, honestly, I try to think back before FNAF, and if anything even like briefly got close to what it is. And like, the only thing I can really think about is there were like a handful of indie games like was it I'm Scared, like some of those pixelated things that would mess with the files, but like that was the closest it ever really got. Nothing before FNAF really struck this sort of like bizarre like hidden lore that you knew what was happening on the day-to-day, but like there was so much more beyond it, and it was solved through Easter eggs, and not many other games were able to hit that before Scott hit it.
Mm-hmm.
I completely agree.
Mm-hmm. So let's go back to chat really quick because we did miss a few things.
What's up, DJ Surf?
Oh, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Sin says, yes, my favorite game, Demasque Evil. I totally said that wrong. I've never been able to say it. I'll admit, I've always just go, oh, Lady D, and then just hope that people ignore me. And generally did not go well. Millie, I love how unhinged Posture gets with $2. Thank you. Melon Comic says,
fully unleashed yet.
let Mascot Horror cook. There's a lot in the works still with the fanverse and stuff like Bendy and Poppy Playtime. We're just currently waiting for creators to finish their big games.
I completely agree, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon. It's just like there's so much slop that's being put out in the meantime, so we're just kind of like in this really rough patch.
Yeah,
but it's definitely going to get better. I fully believe that.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time. I have a lot of faith in Poppy 3 because it's really funny because Mob Games has kind of thrown a reverse Euphoric Brothers in the way that they handled their criticisms.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really did not like Mob Games for a really good amount of time, and I think I had valid reasons to not like them. I have a video that explains why I didn't like them that got like 1.2 million views. So a lot of people were very interested about that subject. And although I still think a lot of the things that they did at that time weren't good, they've done a lot, I think, in the wake of that to really bring back their public reputation. Like they've basically completely abandoned their Minecraft animation channel, and they only ever post on it to post like super meta stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really focusing on their game and like keeping marketing a bit more low key, starting to like really understand their audience a little bit better. I think they know that obviously their audience is made primarily of kids, but I don't think they're trying to cater to them in the same way that they were before. Because before with Poppy Playtime, it's like they were dangling keys in front of your head. But now I feel like they're trying to make something that'll like hit every single general audience to where it could be enjoyable for a younger audience, but it's not necessarily made for them.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of the vibe that Poppy 3 is starting to give, to where it seems like they're really trying to like get an older audience to take them seriously. And if they execute it and make a legitimately well-made game, then I think they're going to win a lot more people over.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed Project Playtime. The few times that I actually like played it, it was
Project
really
Playtime. It's a really good game.
It was really fun to play with friends. I mean, it wasn't. We played right away, so of course it wasn't the most stable right away. But like, I've always enjoyed the mechanics of the oh my god, the pack.
Yeah, the grab pack. It's like
grab pack. Yeah.
That's another thing about mascot horror games right now, is that every single one needs to like have some sort of gimmick. And I think like I'm fine with there being a gimmick, just as long as it's fun to use, or at least gives you a neat visual spectacle to look at. Because like, although like you can argue that the grab pack was kind of shoehorned in the first 2 chapters of Poppy Playtime, at least it has really good snappy animation to it, and it's kind of it feels pretty fun to use.
It feels
Can't say the same about the drone. You know what I mean?
What are you talking about? You can put a hat on it.
Yeah, you
That's
can have
true.
the drone, and they can push buttons for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, still the most offensive puzzles. Where I know we were trying to get away from Bam Bam, but it's just the buttons right above. No, you can't. But like 3 buttons above a door is not a puzzle. It's 3 buttons above a door.
It's padding.
Yeah. All right. So as kind of like the last topic to kind of wrap up this like weird unofficial podcast here. One thing that I was talking to you guys a little bit about before the stream and something we've mentioned on here, and yeah, it is the ongoing self-deprecation here on the channel that I'm old. I'm part of a generation of YouTube that was very like the landscape when I started is completely different to what it is now. And I've been especially watching like you guys in your group as you've been like all growing together, and especially over these last couple months of just suddenly like my feed is you guys. So I would love to just like quickly talk a little bit about how you feel the landscape of YouTube and content creation is now here in 2023, and how you guys have been what has been working for you guys, and what has been the most fulfilling starting like when did everyone start their channels? That is a good place for me to start.
I started like I'm the oldest starting, well, at least with our latest careers. I'm pretty sure Zach is probably the one that's been doing it the most, because he's been doing like ARG stuff and stuff like that. But when we're talking about like the essay content, I definitely started first, and I was like kind of doing more variety stuff at the beginning. Like my biggest video still right now is me covering like a Minecraft topic. So I've been at it for a little bit. But I didn't really get my big break until I made horror games for kids and the problem with indie horror, which basically set my trajectory for the rest of my channel and the content I'd be making going forward. But it was a very convenient time for me to make that video because I think I made that at the best time possible.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it did so well. Because around the same time, people started to notice that there was a void where a very lucrative niche could have been filled that people like Pashra and started to fill, where there really wasn't much topic commentary essay stuff when it came to mainly Five Nights at Freddy's and just mascot horror related topics in general. And I think would probably be the best to explain that.
I guess I don't know. My whole YouTube thing is fucking weird. I made my YouTube channel January 11th, 2022. So
wow,
not too long ago. It's been a bit over a year now. And I didn't even start it as like a YouTuber. I made TikToks for like a month, and then I uploaded them to YouTube, and it kind of just my channel just fucking blew up. And then I was like, okay, I'll do long form videos, and then the long form videos did well. So. I mean, yeah, that's kind of what happened. There was a very obvious niche to be filled that I didn't even realize I was filling until I realized I had filled it. And I think that's the case with a lot of people that are in this sphere of just making video essays, or I think some of my older stuff is more video essay-y, but I guess, like video essays or just scripted videos in general on FNAF topics or mascot horror and the lore around them or whatever. And as I've gone on over the last year and a little bit, I've kind of moved away from being strictly very like kind of just like video essay stuff to more like almost commentary. I like talking about more like specific like YouTube lore that has to kind of do with FNAF and stuff like that. That's kind of where I'm pushing right now. It
basically became like the FNAF equivalent to Cybershell.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a Sonic YouTuber called Cybert. I don't know if you know who that is.
I am unfamiliar, but I mean,
okay.
What I watch a lot of commentary channels. I mean, I finally joined the train on Moist Critical. I've been watching a lot of his stuff recently. But yeah, I was gonna say a lot of your content as of late has felt more commentary based. Then not to say it's not really a video essay, but stepping away kind of from game review and more towards commentary.
I
Yeah.
100% agree. Because what happened is, my meteoric rise on YouTube, as stupid as that sounds, but I mean that's what happened.
It's true though.
I just blew up. I'm like, okay, now I have to deal with this. And what happened is I started making these FNAF fan game videos, which kind of just became my thing for a long time. And then I spawned a million other people who also do the same thing I was doing, half a year ago or whatever. So now the market of these FNAF fan game videos is very crowded, which is fine. I mean, it's good that the genre is flourishing, but I also feel like, okay, what's next for me? Because I don't want to. As soon as everyone else started doing it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop doing this as much, and I've been kind of pushing away from it this whole year.
Plain Trace kind of took up your mantle.
A little bit, and there's more than just him, and I'm fine with it. I think it's great that there is a market for that kind of stuff still, obviously, but I want to push more to something kind of new, or not new necessarily, but just new for me, I guess.
Yeah.
It's been working out pretty well so far this year. I think this year I've done more videos on non-FNAF topics so far than I did all of last year, which is kind of funny, but yeah.
I mean, I'm very familiar with the FNAF fan game train because that was what drove my channel. That was what blew my channel up, even though I was trying all sorts of different things. Postra. Let's talk about you.
Yeah, you've been pretty quiet.
My story on YouTube is very bizarre because like I've actually been at it for like I think I've been at it for around like 9 years now, just making random channels since I was a kid. The actual Pastra channel I made around like early in 2021, and I remember for quite a while on YouTube I had been trying to make like original horror content, like I was trying to make ARGs or like early like weird found footage stuff, but I never really got that to work. But I remember I started my channel like only like 2 years ago now, which is weird. It doesn't even feel like it's been that long. But I had originally made like the actual Pastra channel to be like some original ARG, but I scrapped that idea and just wanted to use it as an excuse just to ramble about basically anything I had a strong passion for. And at the time I was very hyper fixated on Five Nights at Freddy's. So like all of my early content was talking about FNAF. And I got lightning in a bottle with that. Like I got really lucky because that original FNAF 3 video sat on my channel for a full year and nobody watched it. But then Security Breach came out and suddenly that video blew up and I just started making a bunch of different FNAF videos just rambling about the series. And I kind of like, while I was doing that to try and capitalize, I kind of like hit a stride where I'm like, yeah, it's really fun to talk about just like basically anything I'm really passionate about. And oddly, with that sort of formula I have where it's basically just whatever I find interesting, I feel like I kind of got really lucky with that because I'm kind of in like this weird place where so long as I care enough about what I'm talking about and I'm like really passionate about the subject matter, I've been able to make videos on like a whole variety of things. And then of course, like eventually with that, I also started diving into the idea of trying original stuff again. Like I've got my own analog horror series now that I'm working on. Which of course isn't nearly as big as like any of the regular content I make, but it's cool that I'm able to actually sit down and make that alongside regular sort of essay structured content.
Dan, didn't you react to Dreams of an Insomniac?
I did watch a little bit of
okay.
It was towards the end of my stream. I peeked it just a little bit. But yeah, I did, and then I think that's how Postra, you and I started talking initially.
Yeah, it actually is because I remember whenever I had initially released Dreams of an Insomniac. Obviously, it was a new series. I was very, very like early into it, and I was like getting a strong idea of like what I wanted to do with that series. So just like seeing anybody like with a notable like subscriber count watch it, I was like, oh my god, I've succeeded now. It's crazy. Like I appreciated any attention the series got, even if it was critical, because even then I'm like, hell yeah, now I know what to improve upon when I add stuff to the series as I go forward. I was really excited about that.
Yeah, because I remember being a little critical of it, and it was just more of like, these are lessons that I've definitely learned growing up as a creative, and I'm like, hopefully this helps.
No, and genuinely it did, because
Yeah.
like, again, I was very new with it, and I appreciated getting any form of criticism, because I'm like, great, now I can actually improve upon this and make it something bigger. But yeah, like it's been cool though, because I've had like this weird thing with my channel where I essentially, and I feel even like weird just saying it, but like I can essentially talk about like whatever I want on there right now, if as long as it's like generally themed around what my channel is, and I can kind of like get along with it so long as it's something I'm really passionate about. And fortunately, I was able to sort of stray away from making exclusively FNAF content, because, like Aya said, it's kind of like an oversaturated thing now, where it feels like anything I could say about Five Nights at Freddy's has been said by other people.
The well's really dry.
And yeah, so I don't want to like fall into the thing of just like anything I want to talk about, I feel like someone could do better. So it's nice that I was able to like get away from that very early on and just kind of be more of a general indie horror while creating my own original works like on the side as sort of like a just something to like I guess the way I put it is like DOAI is kind of just the thing I'm making on the side as sort of like my like thing I'm putting my money towards that I'm getting from doing my job normally now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot to be said, because FNAF is like you guys said, it's that well is very, very dry, but yet at the same time, YouTube like as an algorithm loves to put that trap up. Like if you start falling down the FNAF rabbit hole, and at least in my own experience, I'd be interested to hear what you guys have said, but like once I started to fall into like the FNAF fan game stuff and all like that, YouTube would just almost punish me for trying to do something that was slightly outside of that.
I completely relate.
Yeah.
Last October, me and Posture actually worked on a video covering an indie horror game called Gloomwood, which I really liked. And that ended up like really suffering compared to the other content that I was making, because I was making primarily FNAF stuff at the time. So I took that as kind of like a wake up call to like try and like maybe wane away from it, but less drastically. So my first thing after that was making a video talking about Roblox horror games. And then I made the Garten the Band video. And then like I brought it back a little bit, making another FNAF topic. But like recently, my best performing stuff hasn't been the FNAF stuff, which is pretty comforting to see. To where I kind of gotten out the niche of just being strictly FNAF, and now I could just kind of like be mascot horror a little bit, just as a whole.
Yeah.
And I could at least rely on that genre to get me some sustainability.
Yeah, that's how kind of I feel, because I mean, a lot of my videos are layered in a coat of FNAF paint, but they're literally just not FNAF videos, like barely. I did a video on fucking Irate Gamer that has like almost nothing to do with FNAF, only because he ended up becoming a children's YouTuber called Puppet Steve who unboxed FNAF stuff. But I got to make a video on Irate Gamer. Like, and it did well. Like, I mean, I don't care. Like, I get, as long as I can do shit like that, I don't care. Like,
yeah,
it's just like, yeah.
It has a lot to do with the packaging. Like, especially right now, like the thumbnail's everything.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And,
Absolutely.
And you know, if you're able to slide in, you know, at one Freddy, it does go a long way. Like that's what some of the angles I've taken with some of the stuff I've said, or like I've talked about, that aren't necessarily FNAF related, but close enough that I could at least put them in the thumbnail. Like I take that opportunity every time.
If it's smart too.
You have to.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how working on YouTube has been. Now, I want to go back to a little bit, because I was unaware that you started in 2022.
Yeah.
With so you started on TikTok.
Yep. If you go to my channel and go to the shorts page, you can see literally every TikTok I've ever made there.
There they are. How have you been handling the sudden surgence? Because at least for myself, and I might be speaking for Dags or Postra here, but like we've been doing it a while and we have a bit more of at least for myself, it's been more of a grind. How have you been handling the immediate influx of people watching you?
I don't know. I this is a very weird thing to say, but I always thought I'd end up doing this. I just had a feeling, and it just kind of happened one day. So it wasn't that weird to me. I was kind of just like, okay, this is my life now, and I've been fine with it. I'm a very like, I don't I'm a very like closed in person. I like to chill at home a lot. I don't really like to do much, so I'm fine kind of just working on YouTube stuff and making that kind of just my life. I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
it hasn't been that bad.
I mean, it does take a lot of time sitting at a computer at home working on this stuff to make it work.
Yeah.
So you're the first person that I think I've talked to that has had such a smooth transition into something like this.
Yeah, I don't know. There was never really any huge road bumps for me. It kind of just like worked out. I don't know. It was very weird, very lightning in a bottle situation that, like, I got very lucky that I got bored. Okay, so basically what happened is I was making the TikToks or whatever, and I was also uploading them to YouTube Shorts at the same time, just as like a, upload it 2 places. Why not?
Yeah.
They did not do well on YouTube at all at first. They got like, what happens with shorts early. I haven't made a short in a fucking over a year, so I have no idea. But at least when I was doing it, what would happen is you'd put the short out, it'd get no views, then it would randomly get a view spike of like 1,000 people, which is just YouTube randomly sending the video to 1,000 people to test the waters of it or something. That'll just happen at random, and then it'll flatline again, so it'll be stuck at like 1,000 views or 2,000 views for like a while. So there, I wasn't really getting any attention on YouTube or anything like that. But over on TikTok, the algorithm is completely different in the fact that you can have a video on TikTok and it will literally get like 500,000 views overnight, which is what happened to my TikToks there. So that getting a bunch of attention over there motivated me to continue making more of those. And then I kept uploading them to YouTube. And I don't know if I would have continued if I didn't get that motivation from TikTok. So if I didn't randomly blow up on TikTok first, I probably wouldn't have continued making them in the first place because I got that motivation to continue. So I don't know. It's a very weird situation, lightning in a bottle. A million things could have gone wrong, but I don't know. Everything kind of just went right. And it's very odd, but I'll take it.
Yeah, no, you've managed to hit, like, luck has a lot to do with like starting off on YouTube. Like there are talented people that never break 10,000, and it's, part of it is like they're not doing the thumbnails right and all that sort of stuff. But when the algorithm hits you and puts you in front of the right people, it just blasts off. So it's crazy to hear that it went so incredibly smoothly for you. Like I'm very happy for you. I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, I mean it's been an experience for sure. I'm glad that everything kind of went smooth. It's not a lot of crazy shit. So it's very, very, very thankful for that for sure.
So to kind of wrap up everything as we're going into the end of the stream, I guess I just want to open to what your goals are for the rest of the year as far as content creation. Do you have any, well, if you have things you'd like to tease, now is a good time to tease them. But also if there's, if, like, for myself, I know that I'm also kind of shifting a little bit more away from reviewing stuff and trying to be a little bit more critical and a little bit more commentary as well, because that I get a lot more out of that as opposed to just reviewing a game now. So I just want to open the floor to what you guys have moving forward going into the year.
Well, in my case, I have a lot of very sort of ambitious plans for what I've been doing over the last year.
Sounds like it.
I do. For in terms of like regular form content, I was hoping on touching on a lot more like obscure horror content rather than purely just like horror games. Recently, I've been doing a lot of Resident Evil content because I've been obsessed with that series, but I've been kind of wanting to like go more into some like horror movies potentially and just broaden the sort of discussion on the horror genre as a whole for myself and see where that takes me, see if it works, see if it doesn't. I also want to talk about more YouTube series, and of course, the elephant in the room for me is I'm working on DOAI Volume 1.
Nice.
Which it's probably going to end up taking a really long time because I'm being much more ambitious with it. We've got like, I've been investing in like, this one's gonna be using like blue screen stuff, which it's my first time editing with that. It's very intimidating.
It's not fun if,
No,
but it's doable.
It's absolutely doable. I did a bunch of filming with it recently, and it was a bit intimidating at first, but I've managed to make it work well enough. But like, just next week, I'm gonna be working on like actually crafting like a full-on costume because I'm trying to steer away from the whole like analog horror scary PNG thing and actually have some like proper live action stuff. So I'm being much more ambitious with my own original works, and I'm going to be experimenting with new subjects to discuss on like my regular form content. I guess is like the TLDR version of my plans.
Yeah, no, I look, analog horror is currently a lot of if I could not see another stretched out random face in an analog horror video, I think I'll be okay. Personally,
I agree.
I've seen too many giant eye sockets, small eyes, like a surprising amount, and I know I use them for my thumbnails, but there's a lot of them.
Dude, absolutely. Like even whenever I made like volume 0, I was like, do I really want to use like all these PNGs? But I was on a time crunch because we had power out for like 3 weeks over where I live, and I needed the video to be out by Halloween. So I was like, okay, you know what? It's gonna be tropey, but we're just gonna put it in there because I think it's effective enough. But with this one, I'm like, I really want to film some live action stuff. Actually, put more work into the effectiveness of the horror, not just have it be PNGs and cheap stuff. So it's taking its time, but I'm really looking forward to making it.
Yeah, I'd love to hear ambition. Personally, because I get way too ambitious as well, and it does bite me in the ass more times than it's helped. But like when you're done with it, it feels so good to do something incredibly ambitious and have it done, and just watch it back and went, that wasn't maybe exactly what I wanted, but I am so glad I made this, and I love where it is right now.
Absolutely, like. Those are all my favorite videos, are the like really overly ambitious ones that seem daunting at first, but it's like I actually sat down and did that. How did I do that?
Yeah, there's a lot to be said. I edit a lot for my job and outside of my job, and every time I'm like, I'm so sick of editing, I'll edit something that I put a lot of thought and a lot of passion into, and I'm like, okay, I remember why I like editing.
Yeah,
or at least
absolutely.
why I suffer through it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Toss it over to you.
So, late last year, the second last video I made last year was a video on FNAF content farms. It was a video about channels dedicated to literally just making lowest common denominator, like easy to make or easy to buy content to then upload. To then just milk the FNAF IP and other mascot horror stuff and whatever. And I really liked making that video. It was one of my favorite videos I made last year. And then this year I've made a video on 3Lame Studio, who's like this crazy, insane, almost Elsa Gate tier YouTube animator who makes these like really gross kids animations. And they made a video on Puppet Steve. So I really enjoy making videos on weird YouTube stuff. That's my favorite stuff to talk about. That's my favorite stuff to write about, and I'm trying to push in that direction for this year. The next video is another video like that, and the video after that is probably gonna be another video like that. I've had fun talking about FNAF fan games and stuff, and I'll probably still do it because there's still games that I'm really excited for that are coming out. But this year I want to definitely push towards making videos on weird YouTube stuff, because that's what I really enjoy talking about right now. Kind of just like just Elsagate, gross, fucking weird shit. I don't know. It's just fun to look down those rabbit holes, and it's fun to kind of just expose it to a bunch of people. Be like, yo, like look at this shit. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's going like I went down the Troom Troom rabbit hole a little bit a while back, and like it's fascinating. I cannot understand the creative process at all. Even like I'm pretty sure there's no creative process. It's just put random shit on the screen, but like how they piece together stuff and how it works is insane. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, so that's the direction I'm trying to push my channel in, and I think I can absolutely do it. I think I've already successfully done it to some extent, so I think I'm just going to keep doing it until the audience is used to it, and then I'll just start branching out even more from that. And I think that's a good direction for my channel right now.
Yeah.
And then not YouTube related stuff. I'm slowly but surely I'm working on I guess kind of a mascot horror game. It's a FNAF inspired game called New Management, and that is being worked on. So that's also coming out probably next year, but I'm working on that right now. So that's stuff that I'm working on.
Yeah. I remember seeing you guys talking about that. Oddly enough, during my Ban research was roughly around the time that you guys announced it.
Yeah.
Dax.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm
sorry for these very abrupt transitions. I am very, very tired.
I understand. Don't worry. Yeah. So my predicament is a bit more. I think it's a pretty interesting because I feel like I've carved out a pretty comfortable niche that I think is flexible enough for me to keep going and see what I can experiment with. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited to see what I could do with that. And I have a whole bunch of videos that I'm planning that are going to be dipping my toes into more experimental stuff. I've been kind of doing that recently, like outside of like this Garten of Ban 3 video I made, just so like there isn't a huge gap between uploads. Yeah. I worked incredibly hard to make this hour-long retrospective where I played every single Backrooms game on Steam.
That's right.
That did pretty well, and although like making that video felt like an absolute nightmare at times, I still did enjoy doing most of it, especially during the end. Like if you got a good game in there, it felt like it felt like a blessing from the gods to play one of the good games out of the 40 that I had to play for that video. But I really enjoyed making more content like that, where it's a bit longer, takes a bit more time to put together, but I feel like the outcome for it, with how much effort that I put into it, seeing that on my channel next to the rest of my catalog, when having that thought in the back of my head being like, oh, this is way too ambitious, you'd never be able to make that, and then like seeing it there has been really a big motivator for me. And I wanted to start doing more things like that. I have a really, really ambitious project that I have planned in the next coming years. I really want to start working on about basically a retrospective on the entire genre of horror games as a whole, and that I have a lot of plans for, but I'm kind of limited in my environment right now to start working on that. But maybe next year. I am really excited to start working on that though. Maybe next year when I get my own place. But for now, I'm just kind of like, I just want to keep on experimenting with the little niche that I carved out. Like obviously, I'm not going to derive too far from what I've built because I don't really even want to. Honestly, mm-hmm. I like what I'm doing. I just want to be sure to like have good flexibility in what I'm doing though, and just not be too deadlocked into one specific thing.
Yeah, I mean that's the trickiest part about YouTube, right? Yeah. Is convincing the algorithm that I can go a little outside my box. It's fine.
It's like I want to be in in the same kind of boat that like Zach is in, or like even other bigger examples. Like the first thing I think of is like Windigoon, who obviously grew mainly through Iceberg content, and I did too actually, but mainly through Iceberg content, but was started to actually be able to branch out through similar topics that weren't just icebergs. And that's kind of something that I've been doing too, because like I kind of fell into the iceberg niche and I was able to crawl out of that, which is also a blessing because Jesus Christ, a lot of iceberg YouTubers have really fallen off. It's really sad to see. But
you have to evolve. It's just plain and simple.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You just got to keep on adapting, but you got to do it in a very smart way. You got to be very calculated with what moves you make, but also make sure you take risks. Just make sure the risks that you take aren't invest too much time into, because to see something that you invested a lot of time into do incredibly bad is something that is just not going to be nice to see. So like I plan on making stuff that's a bit more derivative from what I've been making, and I'm excited to start doing that. I don't really have any huge projects that I'm involved in right now. Like I know Aya's is like helping make a whole FNAF fan game. Posture is making Dreams of an Insomniac. I'm just kind of doing my thing, seeing where it will take me.
Well,
And-
you're about to do an entire retrospective on the horror genre, so
Yeah,
well,
that's pretty big.
the horror genre in video games specifically.
yeah. Still,
That's gonna be way further down the line. I need my own place to do that, like bar none. I need to have my own space to be able to do that, because I plan on doing a whole bunch of live action segments and stuff. I plan on hiring a VFX artist for some things like that. So that is a bit more further off, but I am in the planning stages of that, just so I don't go in completely unprepared.
that is 100% fair.
But I'm really looking forward to doing more big projects like that. I'm hoping that I'll see the fruits of my labor there, because Jesus Christ, it's probably gonna be like four whole parts, and all those parts are probably gonna be 2 hours long.
Oh my god.
It's gonna be a lot, but I'm excited to take that up.
I'm excited to see some editing timeline posts as those get closer. I mean, it's the editor in me that loves to see the rainbow going. That's some good cuts.
Yeah.
Seeing the Tetris blocks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna zoom out, and like my Premiere timeline is gonna look completely black.
Your
my
frame rate's gonna
God.
drop the further you zoom out. Like you're gonna blue screen.
Jesus. All right. Well,
Oh man.
we are at the end of our time. So
Yeah.
I want to quickly say I want to thank everyone for being here. Oh, yeah, Postra, Dags. This has been
problem.
a fascinating conversation with just kind of content creation, and also great therapy session for Ban. I feel a little bit more vindicated.
Ban intervention.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, I'm not done talking about Ban, but I think I'm done talking about the games. I'm going to talk about something else about it probably soon.
Yes.
So there's something.
I really there is a lot to talk about Ban outside of the games.
Yeah.
The content farms are there, and I'm going to talk about them.
Oh boy.
Actually, we need to talk about that a little bit off stream, because I have an idea.
I'm always down so long as it ain't on my channel.
But yeah, it was really great to be able to talk to you guys, especially as younger creators, and kind of seeing how you guys are experiencing things different from how I experienced it. But also, I love meeting new creators. I love talking about creation and then all that sort of stuff, because you learn just a little bit more every time you have a conversation. And for chat, you guys are all beautiful. Thank you so much for being around and hanging out with us. I know we didn't talk a whole lot to you guys, but I want to say appreciate you all being here, watching, and keeping that conversation going between each other. I will be back on Sunday, but that will be over on Twitch, so remember that. Otherwise, I'll see you on Tuesday for probably more Sucker for Love, because I have a problem, and it's giant cat girls. Thank you everyone for joining. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.
See you later.